Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another MCon Live. This evening, we're joined by the amazing Mr. Chris Barrie.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ashley.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in with us. We have got some one-to-ones happening this evening after this episode. If you've already applied for those, you check your emails and you will find information regarding that. And if you'd like an autograph from Mr. Barrie, please check our website and Facebook group. So welcome, Chris.
I still find this sort of thing extremely strange, but at least it's a way to communicate with the wider world out there.
Definitely, it's definitely become very futuristic as well. It feels very Star Trek-like, or even Red Dwarf-like. We're all living in the future and not actually getting to see anybody.
Well, we feel, I feel like I'm sort of living through a massive sci-fi movie anyway in life generally, which becomes more freaky by the day.
And your time on Red Dwarf, you're used to living in isolation, and if just a few people around you, so it's quite reality, fiction becoming reality.
Well, it is, yes. I've been quarantined, of course, with Mr. Flibble. In quarantine, and that was quite something. And of course, many people are going through that a similar sort of experience now for real, which is quite extraordinary. Hopefully, they may not steal my ideas in terms of costumes for being in quarantine. And then of course the stasis. So yeah, Red Dwarf. We had loads of experience for what 2020 was going to throw at us.
Well, I'm hoping that Boris Johnson does one of his annual COVID updates dressed as little Gingham, and that's when we know we've actually made it.
Well, I think in a certain kind of way, he'd suit the Gingham look. I can imagine his golden locks sort of creeping out of the end of that. Absolutely amazing.
So first of all, thanks for coming to on MCon Live. The first thing we want to talk about is Red Dwarf, because that's what everyone's a big, massive fan of. People are asking when you got this first script, what was your take on the show and the character Rimmer?
When I first saw the script, to audition for the part, I didn't really know which character I was being earmarked for, whether it was Rimmer or Lister, because there are elements of Lister's character that are quite close to me in reality, in terms of occasionally untidy, sort of a bit slobby, that sort of thing, and there are also traits that are quite close to Rimmer as well. So I didn't really know which one it was going to be. So when I first auditioned, I remember I actually did Rimmer first, and then whoever I was auditioning with, I can't exactly recall at the moment who it was, but we swapped roles, and we had to go at that. But I think in the end, Paul Jackson, Rob and Doug, they all thought, well, I was more of a Rimmer than a Lister, and yeah, I enjoyed. Playing the part has been absolutely fantastic over the last 33 years, whatever it is. But initially, I think all of us thought this show, where's it gonna? Has it got legs? We thought, it's so different from a lot of stuff that was on at the time. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy accepted. It was pretty different as a sitcom, the audience as well. That we really didn't know if we were going to get a second crack at it. Fortunately, we did.
So, what? So we have a delay on my head this side. So what is it about Red Dwarf that has made it keep going for this many years? That little show that could just keep coming back time after time. What is the fundamental thing to yourself that you think keeps it going?
I think it's just with every series that's gone by, that's been made, there's always been something fresh. There's always been, whether it's changing the look of the show, whether it's to do with the sets, whether it's to do with the kind of storylines, whether it's all going to be set on Starbug, whether we're back on the Dwarf, that sort of thing. There's always a sort of little thing that, about it, or a little group of things about it that makes each series individual. And I just think, you got to give it to the writing. Latterly, of course, Doug, that he's been constantly pushing back the frontiers. Really, he's been constantly creative and bringing in various sort of topics that are close to us in the 21st century. Technocracy and automation, that sort of stuff. So very, very clever scripts, really, and of course the chemistry amongst the four of us. It's something that can just keep going. We don't have to address any particular topics that other shows kind of have to address. We tick all the boxes kind of straight away in terms of a lot of the things that people are seem to be obsessed with these days. Red Dwarf just can get on with the show, and I think it's that's why it's lasted, really.
So as you said there, each series kind of almost feels like a reinvention of itself with the different sets, the different layouts. Is there a favourite series that you've worked on yourself?
Do you know, I can't really. It's very difficult to pick out a favourite episode and indeed a favourite series. It's in every series there have been shows that I've particularly enjoyed. I mean, in series one, Me Squared, for example, Future Echoes was just, amazing, fun to do. And all the way through, I mean, Marooned in series 3 was one of my favorite episodes. Series 4, we had Dimension Jump. And then coming on to the later shows, we had Officer Rimmer, we had Trojan back in, I think that was series 10. Lately, of course, we've had some absolutely cracking episodes and some great guest artists. So it's so difficult to see. Obviously, one of the series I wasn't in that much. I think that was series 7. I think, obviously I wouldn't pick out that as being my favorite series. Although we had the Munchkin Rimmers in that series, but it's just. It's extremely difficult. Yeah. So I can't. I'm not going to pick a favorite series at all. A lot of people say some people say the latest series have been the best. The best thing you've ever done. Blah, blah, blah. And some people say the very earliest were the best. But I think when looked at, from an acceptable distance from the later stuff, I think all the series have had their moments, and it's just been great that the main cast have been together to do it, and obviously lately it's good to see Norman back.
No, definitely it is. I'd like to get Hattie back one time though. It'd be good to see Hattie again on screen. I'm a big female.
Well, that would be great. Yeah, she's absolutely brilliant, lovely lady, superb artist and comedian, and it'd be great to see her back. Of course, it would.
Over the years, you've played many different versions of Rimmer, from Ace to the Heroes and Demons version of Rimmer and beyond. Is there a favourite version you had that's not the main Arnold?
Well, look, I suppose it's an obvious answer, really. Ace would be to be able to have that freedom to be suddenly someone who was so popular and so capable. Was a great release, I suppose, from the sort of constraints of being Smeghead Rimsey, but yeah, no, I'd have to say it, and the Ace, particularly of series 4, where the wig was absolutely bang on. It was like proper hair. I could walk down the corridor and people would not think it's me. And in the recent documentaries, I'm sure I heard one of Ed By say, "Why did he have to take the wig home?" I didn't take it home, but it did disappear mysteriously, according to the makeup department. So yeah, Ace has been great fun to play. But all the characters. I mean, I love the Do you know what? I've forgotten the name of the episode. I shouldn't. It's stupid of me, though. It'll come to me as soon as this finishes. But it's the one where I've got the goatee beard and I've got the pipe, and I'm sort of saying, "Yes, well done, Dave. Let's put that on the back burner, shall we?" And he's sort of saying, "Wait, let's get out there and swat it."
Polymorph.
You know, it's kind of like polymorph. Yes. Well, I'm just testing you, Ashley. There. Yes, so that was a great scene to do, great series of scenes to do in Polymorph, but I had the sort of the anger sucked out of me, you know. It was yeah, but Ace probably would have to be it.
But that's what's been so good about the show, is that it's only the 4 characters, but you had so many different iterations, things happening. You really got a chance to express yourself with the same characters but slightly different, which is a talented performance and talented writing.
Yes.
We've had a question from Jason Neal. What is your favourite Red Dwarf Smeg Up and why?
My favourite Red Dwarf Smeg Up. Now, Smeg Up, of course, what we know as where we make a mistake, and we sort of go into one to try and cover it all up, and I usually, when that usually happens, I go into some other Japanese thing, or I go into the Kenneth Williams impersonation, which are looking at myself at the screen at the moment. My nostrils are even bigger than they've ever been. So that's what I would do normally. Unfortunately, your nostrils, apparently your nose gets, as you get older, it keeps growing. That's sort of worrying for people with nostrils like Trans Am wheel arches, like me. So that, but when the guys Smeg Up, they do some fantastic improvisation, which is always great to see. So yeah, Smeg Ups are great fun.
They are, and the videos and the videos. That's how old I am with the Red Dwarf franchise. The Smeg Up videos were classics. Moving on from Red Dwarf a little bit, want to talk about one of the other favourite characters of everyone's, Mr. Britus. And how was your time on that show?
Well, the British Empire was a great show, great fun for us to do. We had a fantastic company there, quite a big company. It was sort of, almost like Heidi High meets sort of Fawlty Towers, or Heidi High meets what am I thinking of? It's that kind of, it was one man, with this vision, this dream, and he could do everything by the book, but he didn't really have the essential people skills, and it all fell apart for him in every episode. But it was great fun to do. We had went down to Ringwood Recreation Centre, and that was our exteriors and some of our filming down there. We had Mike Stevens, the director. That was an in-house show, so it was a very different experience to do the British Empire. It was all in-house BBC, and I mean, basically we would get to show our filming and sometimes our studio evenings done with about 45 minutes before the evening kind of ended. Most of the stuff we did was in sort of 2 or 3 takes, and that's one philosophy which generally worked. Whereas with Red Dwarf, I mean, you're shooting beyond, when the evening's officially supposed to end. If it's vaguely lit and still moving, shoot it. So I was surprised in British Empire in those first couple of series when I was thinking, well, have we done it? Have we done it? Oh, I wouldn't mind going back and having another little go at that. But hey, no, we've done it. Everyone's happy, so let's move on. So different philosophy, but great fun to do. And Britus was a superb character. There were moments when we tried to think about bringing him back, but for some reason it just didn't catch on, unfortunately. If the writing team are out there, boys, Richard Fegan, Richard and Andrew, we're still eager to do some more Britus. So let's keep trying to bring it back. If of course we ever make any proper TV shows again, that is.
And where do you see Britus nowadays? Where would he be in this crazy world?
I think he would have probably gone to work for the European Union.
And how would he be dealing with lockdown?
Well, Britus would be dealing with lockdown by the book. He would be social distancing 4 meters, please. He'd have an extra special mask, probably going over his eyes as well. He would be very, very serious about all the measures that have to be taken.
I've got an image of him hanging outside the window with binoculars, counting the people in groups.
Oh yeah. No, he'd probably be a snitch as well.
But unintentionally, though. He would try not to snitch and then accidentally drop a whole load of his neighbours in it at the same time.
Yeah, he would. That would be an interesting little concept for Britus. He'd have to think long and hard about that.
We should get you a live stream and do your own improvised episode of Britus on lockdown.
Now that will be interesting. I'd rope some of the other team in for that.
We've got a question. We should do it. That'd be fun. It would be and great cast and a great show and a great comedy. In this day and age, we need that kind of thing around. We've got a question from Debbie Newton. Good idea.
Yeah.
Sorry about the delay here, still, everyone. Debbie Newton says, "Which did you enjoy playing the most, Mr. Britus or Arnold Rimmer?"
I think I enjoyed playing both the characters equally. Whatever character you're given, you get on with it. You play it to the best of your ability, and if you're not enjoying playing it, then there's no point in doing it. Excuse me, but I think I can't really sort of say which one I enjoy playing most. I think Red Dwarf, the fantastic creativity of the scripts and the aspects of the show and the journey that Rimmer and all the other characters went on, just amazing. And obviously I've done that for a lot longer. But the British Empire had its great comforts. It was Marks and Spencer from head to toe, in terms of a little advert there. It was sort of very comfortable outfit to wear, whereas sometimes the Red Dwarf costumes, might have been slightly less comfortable. Demons and Angels comes to mind. I enjoyed them playing. I love playing both the characters.
We've got a question from Jason Neal. What's the best nickname that Robert, aka Crichton, gave you on the show, and why?
I almost wore the T-shirt today, but I think, sir, that may well have been a Captain Bollocks, sir. That's why they call you Captain Bollocks. And how many times can we mention Bollocks in the same scene, sir? So yes, I'm sure he's referring to that. Or of course, Smee, that one, but Captain Bollocks is my favorite.
Well, as you've shown this evening, you're very good with your impressions, and a lot of your career started off with spitting image in your impressions. How did that come about? And is there certain impressions that you're still drawn to? You still practice?
Not really. No, I mean it's a sort of generational thing. I kind of, obviously during this period, we've been listening to politicians for our sins droning on. So yes, I have been trying to attempt my Boris Johnson, but of course I've been quite interested in listening to Matt Hancock, who is being guided by the science. We are guided by the science, that sort of almost automaton kind of response that he has sometimes. But the funniest one has got to be Gavin Williamson, when he said, "I just wish Mr. Putin would shut up and go away." So yeah, I have been sort of listening in to some of these things, but back in my day, it was Michael Foot, it was Ronnie Reagan, of course, all that sort of stuff. So I still do the occasional impersonation, and obviously the lads will do the Cat, Crichton, and Listy. But I'm not about to suddenly say, look, I want to be, relaunch my career as an impressionist.
We've got a question from Osingr. Would you like to revisit the adventures of Ace or any loose plot threads of the Lost Series 9 of Red Dwarf?
Would you want to revisit the adventures of Ace and all of the loose plot threads from the Lost Series 9? Yes, it would be that would have been a sort of dream. I suppose it still could be, but it would have been probably better about 10 years ago, a sort of a spin-off series of Ace, you know, and of have him as a sort of space adventurer, going off, you know, sorting out, you know, interplanetary wars here and there, and, you know, teaching people to do this, that, and the other, and generally being cool and very capable. It would have been great to have had something like that. But, you know, I'm not complaining. You know, we've had some great series of Red Dwarf since. And yeah, the Lost Series 9 was, of course, for us, it was Back to Earth, which was obviously the 3-parter we did, which you know, some people at the time, I think, were a little bit sort of, oh, what's going on with Red Dwarf? But if you look back at it now, I think it was proper Red Dwarf, you know. Obviously no studio audience, but that's, you know, we just it just so happened at the time that was the version of Red Dwarf that we were down to do. So you know, so yeah, Series 9 to me was Back to Earth.
We've got Rebecca Hannett has asked, will we see Rimmer and the boys returning anytime soon? Any future plans after Promised Land? Well,
do you know, pretty soon after the transmission of Promised Land, I think we all received a little text from Doug to say that it had gone down well, and that the powers that be were certainly interested in the possibility of doing some more. So, you know, that's all I can say. That's as far as it's gone for me. I would do some more, definitely, you know, but we are living through this very strange year, and it could be a strange couple of years. So we'll just have to see what happens. But, you know, we'll all keep our fingers crossed that one day, you know, we can slap on the H, Listy can get the jacket on, Cat can get the I'll six of our nipples at England kit on, or one of the many outfits, and Robert can, well, sirs, yes, I'm back as Crichton, and off we go. Fingers crossed, everything crossed.
Okay, we've got a question from Alton Cyphers. Do you think Red Dwarf would work well as a radio audio drama, or do you prefer it or better for TV?
I think because it's so well established as a television program, you've got to keep it on TV. I mean, it's so visual as well. There's so much in an episode, you know, with you know, visual gags on the, you know, in the background and things like that. So, I mean, it could work. I mean, you know, I first, well, after the Jasper Carrot show, I worked on a fantastic radio show with Rob and Doug called Son of Cliche. So, you know, they're brilliantly tuned to the to the medium of audio, but I think, you know, it's an established TV show. It should stay on TV, but certainly, yes, it could probably work on as a radio drama, or a radio comedy. Talking of audio, though, at the moment I'm doing something quite exciting, which is I'm recording an audio book called Dinosaur by Stephen Llewellyn. And that's you talk about impersonations and voices and thing. That's sort of stretching me quite a lot. There's a lot of characters there that need characterization. So that's great fun, and it's a great story as well. I'm really enjoying recording it. So it's certainly keeping my my larynx sort of exercised. It's quite a big book as well. It's over 500 pages. So, but we're about halfway, and it's great fun. It's a great lockdown job, or an audio book, because of course you're just a little studio there, and off you go. So yeah, so the medium of audio radio is as ever very important.
I definitely remember enjoying the abridged versions of the Infinity Workers Careful Drivers audio books you did for the radio back in the day. They were amazing. We've got one last question because you've got to get off for your lovely one-to-ones. From Sophie Salt. Would you be interested in meeting Rimmer's son from the books in the TV series? If you ever read the books, he had a long-lost son. Would you like to see that story incorporated in?
Yes, of course. I'd love to meet Rimmer's son. Would I be interested in meeting Rimmer's son? Well, I definitely would. Yes, I would be intrigued. Being Rimmer, some of the time, I definitely would like to meet him, and I'd like to sort of guide him a few pointers in life. I wouldn't change a thing. Yes, I wouldn't change a thing. I'd tell him to do exactly everything his father does, and life will just roll along in a nice sort of a roller coaster of joy.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris, for your time this evening. Sorry, everyone, that's all we have time for this evening. Chris is going to go off to one-to-one, so if you have got a one-to-one, please check your email. The link is in there for that. Autographs are still available on our website and on the Facebook page. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all again next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashley. Take care. Thank you, everyone. Good night.